A few days ago, I was vibe coding so much that I built the most awesome app in the world, a to-do list. Nah, just kidding. But I was vibe coding using Next.js and Supabase, and it was fun until I kept jumping into Supabase just to change things. That's when I started wondering, does Supabase have its own MCP? I've been using MCP lately with other apps and it makes things way easier when you're vibe coding. But for those who don't know, MCP stands for Model Context Protocol. It sounds complicated but it's actually very simple. Think of MCP like a bridge between your AI and your tools. Instead of you manually going to Supabase, clicking around, updating tables, MCP lets the AI do that for you. So now, your workflow becomes you tell the AI what you want, and then the AI will understand the context, and then the AI again talk directly to your tools like Supabase. That's why vibe coding with MCP feels way better. You can just search MCP right now and you find a tons of videos about it. But I started thinking, how does this even work? Does it use APIs? How much access does it actually have? So I set a goal for myself. I'm going to build my own MCP server. But before that, I needed something to connect it to. So I started building a web app. And after a bit of coding, here's what we have. I built it using HTML, SQLite, and Node.js. Here, just like any to-do app, you can create tasks, complete it, and delete it. Now, to create an MCP server, there are two key things we need to keep in mind. First are tools. These are basically the actions your AI can take. So instead of the AI just talking, we give it actual abilities like creating a task, getting all tasks, marking a task as done, and deleting a task. Think of tools like giving your AI hands. Without them, it can only think and respond. And with them, it can actually do things. Second is context. This is what helps the AI understand when and why to use those tools. Because imagine this, if I just say, wash the dishes, the AI needs to figure out, should I create a task, should I update something, or just respond. That's where structured context comes in. With MCP, we're not just sending random text, we're giving the AI clear instructions, available tools, and the current state of the app. Alright, let's actually build our MCP server. First thing, we need an SDK. If you check the docs on modelcontextprotocol.io, you'll see a bunch of options. But don't overthink it, we're just going to use the TypeScript SDK. So in my terminal, I install it, and I also installed Zod. Next, I'm going to create a file called MCP server. Inside it, I imported the MCP SDK and the other dependencies we need. Now, here's the important part. We need to connect our MCP server to the same database our app is already using. And this part might look scary at first, but it's actually doing something very simple. We're basically asking, hey, where is this file located? That's what this line does. Then right after that, we say, cool, now go find podu.db in that same folder and connect to it. So now, both our Express app and our own MCP server are using the exact same database. So yeah, they're officially sharing the same brain now. Now that we're connected to the database, it's time to actually bring our MCP server to life. So here, we create a new server instance. We pass in the name Podu and a version. And honestly, this is kind of like giving your AI a name tag. Nothing too crazy here, but it's important. So next, we need to teach our server some tricks, aka register tools. This is where your MCP server gets its superpowers. Every tool is something it can pull out when it needs to do a job. And lucky for us, we already know all the jobs because we build them in Express. So basically, here is our blueprint. It's really simple to understand. The tool name is literally the name of the tool, but make sure it's unique so the AI knows which tool to use. Next is the description. This is the tool's instruction manual. The AI reads this to decide when it should use the tool. Then comes the input schema. This is Zod telling the AI, here's exactly what I expect you to give me, a string, a number, a boolean, and don't even think about sending garbage. After that, we have an async function, which is the brain of the tool. This is what happens when the AI actually calls it. Inside here, you'll write the code that does the work. Fetch from the database, calculate stuff, whatever. And finally, inside the return, this is the tool sending back the result. The AI doesn't just get raw data, it gets a structured response it can read, understand, and even display to the user. But now that we are on the same page, let's try to create our first tool. And we're going to start with something simple, list to-dos. This is basically your AI saying, "Hey Podu, show me everything on the to-do list." And here's how it looks in code. The AI calls list to-dos because that's the unique name we give it. The description tells the AI, this tool lists all of your to-dos. Now, there's no input schema here because the AI doesn't need to give us anything. No ID, no title, nada. The async function grabs all to-dos from the database, formats them nicely, and sends them back. The return wraps everything in content so the AI can read it like a menu instead of a messy pile of data. Next, we move on to a slightly trickier one, get to do, where the AI asks for a specific to do by its ID, and we'll see how input schema keeps it from sending garbage. Here's the code I created. Just like before, I know this is getting boring, but bear with me. We name it, give it a description, and now the difference is our input schema. Here, we actually expect something, an ID. Zod steps in and says, "Give me a string or you don't get in." Next, we ask for the database for that ID and check if it exists. If the to-do doesn't exist, we politely tell the AI, "Sorry buddy, nothing here." And finally, in our return, if it does exist, we send it back nicely formatted in a JSON. So now, our AI isn't just wandering blindly, it can fetch exactly what it wants, and Zod makes sure it doesn't break anything by sending weird stuff. We just repeat this pattern for add to do, update to do, delete to do, and clear all to dos. Basically, once you get this down, your MCP server can do anything. It can read to dos, add them, edit them, delete them, basically everything your Express API could do. But now, the AI can control it. Now, let's test it. Right now, I'm using VS Code, so if you're using the same IDE, just create a folder called .vscode, and inside it, create a file called mcp.json. Then copy this code and press start to run your MCP server. For the AI agent, I'm using Copilot. Let's try adding a task. I say, add a to-do called walk the dog. The AI will search for all available MCP tools in your server. And here, you'll see it found add to do, which is the tool we created earlier. Click allow in this session and it's done. Now let's go back to the browser and there it is. Our MCP server is finally working. Now let's try another one. Can you update the task walk the dog to be completed? And it works. It really feels like you have a superpower. You can control your app using AI, and that's actually insane. Now that we have a solid understanding of creating an MCP server, let's try to build a full-blown app with it. But as you might have noticed earlier, this kind of interaction can be easily manipulated, and our AI could actually send malicious code to get our data. Just imagine you're using an MCP server from someone else that's connected to your personal data, and if a bad actor somehow gets into that server, well, you're doomed. Your data just got leaked. Companies know this, which is why when you use an MCP server from others, they authenticate you using an API key. But even that has some risk. So let me introduce you to the scope. The sponsor of this video, don't worry, we're not selling you out. This is generally a tool you might actually use in the future. The scope is built to make authentication super simple and secure. It handles logins, identity verification, and access control, so you don't have to worry about someone sneaking into your MCP server. And this is called the Scope Agentic Identity Hub. Here's how it works. Instead of you just authenticating users, it also manages AI agents as identities. So now, it's not just is this user login, it's also is this AI allowed to perform this action. Every time the AI tries to do something like creating a task, deleting data, or accessing records, it has to go through a permission check. And this is where it gets really important, because without something like this, your AI could technically have full access to your backend. Which sounds cool until it deletes your entire database. We'll talk more about this scope when we actually need to secure our MCP server and user authentication. Next, let's finally create our full-blown app. For this app, we're going to use Next.js and again, SQLite. This app will be an expense and budget manager. Here, we expect it to log our expenses, categorize them automatically, and even give us insights. With MCP server, the AI can pull data, add new transactions, update categories, and summarize your spending. After a while, we have this. So I built Budget Me. Right now, the login is just a placeholder, but I knew I had to fix that before this could be anything real. Once I log in, I land on the dashboard, I can add expenses, see a quick summary, check a few charts, and view recent expenses. I can also delete stuff if I needed to. Overall, the app works pretty well already. But yeah, the authentication was still fake. So I went to the scope, created an account, and set up a project. It gave me a project ID which I dropped into my environment file and obviously kept it private. After that, I started working on the login. First thing I did was wrap my app with an auth provider, basically telling the app, alright, the scope handles who gets in now. Then I work on the landing page, and this is where it got nice. Normally, I have to build everything myself, inputs, error states, and all that annoying stuff. But here, I just added one component. That's it. And suddenly, I have a full login system, sign up, sign in, and even social logins. When I log in, I just get redirected straight to the dashboard. For the backend, I added a helper called require auth. So anytime something hits my API, it checks with the scope. Is this user valid? If yes, it goes through. If not, it gets blocked. But then I hit a bigger issue. My MCP server. Earlier, I built it in a way where the AI could just do anything. Create stuff, delete stuff, no restrictions. It was fine when I was just testing, but now I'm dealing with actual expense data. And I realized, yeah, this is kind of dangerous. If any AI can connect and start messing with data, especially deleting things, that's a huge problem. That's when I started using the Scope Agentic Identity Hub. And honestly, it just clicked for me. Because before, I was just only checking if the user is logged in, but now, there's another question. What is the AI allowed to do? So I keep it really simple. I gave my app a few permissions. Just view expense and add or edit. Then I told my server, if I want to do this action, you need this permission. So now when the AI tries something like deleting an expense, my app just checks, do you have permission? If yes, it works. If no, block. That's it. Now I'm in control of what the AI can and can't do. Setting it up was honestly pretty quick. I went to the scope, opened Agentic Identity Hub, and added my MCP server. Gave it a name, added my server URL, and then added all of my scopes. After that, I copied the server ID into my environment local, and that was basically it. This is useful because it's kind of like roles and authentication. It's basically the same concept, just applied to AI instead of people. And the more I work on this, the more I realize this isn't just about my app. This is going to matter for everything. AI is going to connect to all kinds of apps, finance, email, databases, and everything. So yeah, we go from creating our own MCP server firsthand up to using the scope to authenticate our users and control what the AI can actually do. You can visit the scope using the link in the description if you want to secure your own MCP server and connect it to other MCP servers safely. In our next videos, we'll dive deeper into more back-end topics like middleware, so subscribe to stay tuned. That's it for now, Novas. Thank you for watching.